You have arrived. Welcome, 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 and good morning, everybody, to Puerto Vallarta Real News. I'm so happy to see you here again. I'm happy to be here. It's a lovely day in Puerto Vallarta. It's 10 a.m. Puerto Vallarta time, and not sure what time it is for you, maybe 11, maybe 12, but good morning anyways, because it's morning here. And it is March 30th. And it's amazing outside. The sky is blue, a couple wispy clouds, no cruise ship in port on Mondays, but it's a beautiful, beautiful day in Puerto Vallarta. And we've got a lot going on the show today. We've got a lot of stories, a lot of content. So we're going to jump right in. And again, this is Puerto Vallarta Real News. I'm Brent Lane. We try to get in and out in about 15 to 20 minutes. And here we go. Good morning, Chris, from the Anderson Report. And you know, if you say good morning to me, I'm going to say good morning to you. And it's just part of the show and what we do here. So I love that. All right, moving on through the day. Let's chat a little bit about my weekend and your weekend. So first of all, I talked about it a bit last week. Good morning, Chandra. So nice to see you here again. I talked about it a little bit last week that I was going to go see Project Hail Mary right here in Puerto Vallarta over at the VIP Cinema at Sinpolis. I can never say that quite right. But we did check it out, went out there with Laura, saw the movie on Friday. It was great. I mean, I read the book, so I'm kind of had some definite expectations. Good morning, Sly. How are you? Good to see you back here. I would say it was pretty faithful to the book overall. It definitely left out a bit of the science. There's no, just like The Martian, you can't have everything in there. But overall, I would say big thumbs up on Project Hail Mary. Fun film, and that's all it's trying to be, is fun, and I love that. Every now and then we just need a bit of escapism in this world, as we know, and it was a fun movie. I recommend it. Go check it out. But afterwards, we actually I looked out across from the theater, and I saw there's a new restaurant over there, and I'm sorry, but if you're a giant Food at La Isla fan, bless your little heart. I love that. But man, I've always found the food choices over at La Isla not great here in Vallarta. Just not a lot of great options with some food stands or a Subway. But I looked out and I saw like this place, Kalim, right across the way. Thank you to I didn't take any photos. I was still on a high after the movie, and I think I forgot to take any photos of the place. But thank you to Google Maps for these great shots. Not quite as great as some of our shots, but Kalim, it's Mediterranean seafood. It was right across the street. Oh my God, it was so good. It was such a change of pace in terms of a lot of the restaurants here. I recommend it. We had the tabbouleh, we had like a chicken skewer, like a really nice, fresh, like almost Turkish style pizza, which I've only seen in Turkey. And so it was really fun. So go check it out. It's a recommendation. They don't pay me. They don't even know I'm talking about them right now. So check it out. Great new option. I love new food options, especially with a completely different food than we usually get here, which is nice. Also, today on the show, are you ready? We were out at Lucha Libre, and I got to be there with the most amazing Chris Anderson and a bunch of my friends of the Anderson Report. Good morning, Melissa, good friend on here, and also a submitter of photos today. But let's talk about Chris really quick. So Lucha Libre is going to be shown today. We're going to show you all kinds of great photos he took, and of course, that's all part of the Anderson Report. Here's his new graphic. Morning, Brad. Good to see you. I see that's kind of interfering with my scroll script, so I'll fix that for next time, but we're always a work in progress. So, hey, stay tuned. We're definitely going to be talking about the Anderson Report and how I got to join him and he got to join our group for Lucha Libre this weekend, and some amazing photos. Do not go anywhere. Speaking of amazing photos, you saw Melissa's online today. Her and Gary submitted some photos from the taco fair this weekend, which I'm so happy about because I didn't make it out there. Chris didn't make it out there, but they did, and they were able to supply some great photos. So thank you so much to Melissa, Gary, and Bucket List Travel for submitting those. Good morning, Maureen. So nice to see you on a Monday. Oh, Jonathan, I see your message. Your 3-month stay at PVN's tomorrow. Back to, you know what? But let's look at the bright side. You're going to get some cooler weather, Jonathan. You're going to love that because it's just starting to get hot here. And many of us stay here year round. We're here year round, and we know what it's like. Enjoy your time in a little bit of a cooler environment. Speaking of cooler environment, As you know, I went scuba diving this weekend. I talked about it a bit. I don't have any really photos for you yet. I didn't bring my camera, but my friend did. It was freezing down there. It was so cold, even with my wetsuit. I really saw some amazing stuff, so stay tuned for that. I'll share some scuba stories with you guys later this week. Can't do everything in one day, but I do want to give you this update. So tomorrow is going to be the first on-air interview. We've got Desiree coming on. She is with My Destinations, which is a sponsor of the show, but she's going to come on tomorrow for maybe about 4 minutes just to kind of talk to you a little bit about what's going on with immigration, a couple little free tidbits here and there, and just more about how you can utilize her for your immigration needs. So make sure you're on tomorrow for PVRN's very first on-air live, not pre-recorded interview, so you'll be able to even correspond with her and communicate with her via the chat. So that's going to be pretty awesome. Big thanks to her for coming out. But let's jump into the news. It's going to be a little longer show today, but that's okay because there's just a lot of stuff going on, and we always have to make room for Coffee Cam. Okay, do it with me, Maureen, Jonathan, Brad, Melissa. Cheers, cheers, cheers to you all, Fly and Chandra. Let's all have a sip of coffee, and of course, Chris Anderson as well. All right, jumping into it. First up, Puerto Vallarta government is going to maintain essential services via guard shifts during Holy Week. All right, so if Holy Week's new to you or you're not 100% sure, like what are the dates, what's going on, we get a lot of confusion with that. Here's a reminder. So week one is Semana Santa, and that's going to run from March 29th until April 5th. So the Holy Week is focused on the religious traditions and the busiest travel days of the year here, and especially between like Guadalajara and Puerto Vallarta. That road, especially the quarter road, the toll road, gets really busy. But week two is Semana de Pascua. If I said that wrong, you tell me. I know you will. That's going to run from April 6th until April 12th. So really, we've got a full 2 weeks because that's the Easter week where many families here continue their vacations and students remain out of school. So that kind of explains to you the 2-week period. So we don't just jump into a story and are like, when is that? So back to the story. So as the holiday crowds start rolling in, the local government is making sure the city's essential wheels keep on a turning. While many administrative offices are taking a break for Semana Santa and the Easter holidays, guard shifts have been set up across key departments like the Treasury, Civil, Registry, and Tourism Department. If you got urgent paperwork to settle, most offices will stay open from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., even during the Dias Mayores, which is Monday, Thursday, and Good Friday. So municipal judges and payment windows will stay available to handle the essential services for our international resident community, which is you guys mostly. While the office side slows down, the city's heavy lifting crews are going to go into overdrive. Garbage collection and street cleaning will be working their regular schedules to keep the town looking its best for the holiday influx. On the safety front, which I know is very important to everybody, major presence from police, transit, and lifeguards who are going to be stationed at high traffic spots at all major beaches to ensure everyone has a safe and smooth holiday. But always, if you see something that doesn't belong, if something worries you, you know we use 911 here, just like a lot of the other Western countries here through the Americas. And so if you see something, it worries you, report it. Teams are always standing by. So, hey, that's good news. First story. We're going to keep on running. We're going to keep showing our security and showing the world that we're not scared of PV. We're actually having a great time. I mean, look how many stories and how much stuff I had going on this weekend. And you can even take a breath after that big long story and say, it's coffee time. Cheers. Especially if it's your first time on the show. Cheers with me and tell me you cheers with me, please. I love that you're here. I love it's the first time. I know we got a lot of longtime viewers here. I love it. I love it. I love it. All right. Now, here's a story, which sometimes it's good to come on a Monday morning and have the weekend off because this story originally came out incorrectly. And no fault to the police or anybody, but sometimes stories happen and it doesn't come out completely right the first time out. But over the weekend, there was a shooting. So there was a heavy police mobilization that was downtown in Puerto Vallarta after a woman was shot in broad daylight, which sparked a bit of panic among bystanders and tourists, obviously. Emergency medical teams arrived to the scene to treat the victim, who was rushed to a local hospital for urgent care. And municipal police and special units immediately cordoned off the area, of course. And initially, they said it was the victim's ex-partner. who did get arrested and questioned. But the good news is, and I didn't carry this story over the weekend, is that it actually was not. So the state prosecutor's office has since clarified that he is no longer considered a suspect and has been released from custody. So investigators are now shifting their focus and reviewing security footage from the surrounding business to identify the actual assailant. So the area remains under high alert as the search continues. And of course, as I found out more, you're going to know more, and I'll make it available to you via the local sources that provide me all this great info. So also, third up, it's been a bit of a busy weekend, and this is kind of a breaking news from this morning. So let me share this one with you. So this one, a lot of you might recognize that photo. That's on one of our local, very popular fruterias. And thieves escaped with 200,000 pesos and their security gear. Oh my gosh. So a robbery has left this local business in the Villas Universidad neighborhood shocked after thieves made off with nearly 200,000 pesos in cash. And of course, this is the one-known Fruteria, California, where owners discovered the massive loss early this morning, Monday morning. So this is breaking news. It was a very calculated and planned robbery, as they really did well avoiding the camera. They didn't just take the money. They actually dismantled, stole the entire video surveillance system. Not funny, but man, I mean, just crazy, including all the digital recording equipment. So there were no copies of it. So municipal police arrived on the scene to secure the area and look for clues, but the lack of immediate video evidence has made the initial investigation quite the challenge. Authorities believe the robbery likely took place in the early morning hours this morning while the area was quiet. And the state prosecutor's office has been called in to take over the case, and forensic teams are currently checking the premises for any physical evidence left behind to identify those responsible. I doubt anybody here on the show saw anything, but if you did, again, 911 is a perfect way to report it. And hopefully, for the sake of one of our local fruterias, that they figure that out and they get some information. So I expect to see an update in the coming days on this story, and we'll find out more about what's going on. So, hey, if you're catching this show live, I love that. Definitely love people being on live because I get the interaction. If there's something you want to chat about or something you want to toss up on the screen, definitely do it. And that's going to be fun tomorrow while Des is on. But also remember, if you don't catch this show live, you can always scan the code on your screen, right? There you go, over there. That and my email, where if you've got a story idea or anything you want to share, please do. Thank you for supporting the show and watching it on YouTube as well. And keep sharing because it really helps. Okay, moving on. Let's get into a little bit of entertainment and fun. And this weekend was packed full of it. I already kind of teased you about scuba diving. But also it's time to talk about Lucha Libre. Oh my gosh, it was fun. I'm going to need some caffeine for this one. So cheers for Lucha Libre. Let's do it. All right. So, oh man, what a great time. So I'm just going to throw these slides up here and let these guys run while I'm doing the talking, because Chris Anderson of the Anderson Report really rocked it. He brought out the big gun, which is the big camera with the telephoto lens, and just captured some amazing images. This was his first Lucha Libre, and I was happy he joined my group going out there. And so here's the Anderson Report. So for him, he titled it was my first Lucha Libre thrill ride. Mask on, wonder cranked to the max, because it was time for Mexico's wildest national obsession, and that is Lucha Libre. Am I going to do it in my wrestling voice the whole time? I don't know. Good morning, Dan McNeil. So nice to have you with us this morning. Good morning, sir. So he piled into the Uber with ice cold beers in hand and praying for epic tacos, which he always does. So he plunged head on into that chaotic night of masked warriors and diehard fans guarding their heroes' secrets. The Anderson Report's maiden voyage of high-flying flips with zero nets, literally zero nets, and even less padding. Padding, kind of like yesterday's newspaper. I mean, the wrestlers were just crashing into the mats, and we were on the very front row, and we were hearing it. I mean, I hear you. It's like a telenovela. Definitely this version, because this is a few steps below the last one I went to. I love that photo. That's so awesome. Kirsten, how you doing? Just for those who know, Kirsten's an amazing friend and one that helped put this all together and get all the tickets. So thank you so much for joining. And look at these amazing images, some of which include her, like that one. So, listen, forget the mask. It was a telenovela showdown of spirits. There was a fisherman, a hawk, a cross-dressing diva. Everyone was a star. I even got to interact with them as well. And it was just amazing to just interact and have fun. And the best part is like there were kids there, grandparents is there. I mean, their faces were just lit up and they're lifelong heroes. We're just exploding live, interacting with them. I mean, the wrestlers run around and give you high fives before each match, and the kids all run up and they're giving out masks, and it was just like a constant fireworks show from beginning to end, and so crazy. So if you haven't done it, or if you have, just dive back into the local tradition. Become a child with it, don a mask, and become the character. So for Chris and the Anderson Report, Lucha Libre, absolutely hooked for life. He's going back, which is great for us because we're going to get more of these amazing photos. And if you want to see more of amazing photos, so speaking of, definitely check out the Anderson Reports, Chris Anderson's Facebook page. Let me give it to you. That is www.facebook.com/Mad Plaid Photos. All one word, Mad Plaid Photos. Maybe Chris is on and he can actually just paste that right into our chat screen. So that was the first story today. Jonathan, I see your question. It's not going anywhere. I'm just going to parking lot that one just for just a minute. So trust me, I am definitely going to mention, Paco and Coffee and Headlines, because I pay utmost respect to that guy. Utmost huge shoes to fill, and I'll tell you kind of how that happened. Second up, my good friends, thank you for posting that, Chris. My good friends Melissa and Gary from www.bucketlisttravel.llc.com. So that's Bucket List Travel. They are also the owners of the Facebook group Luxury Travel by Melissa and Gary from Mexico, Europe Resorts and Cruise Vacation. So please look them up because they were kind enough to supply the photos that I have for this weekend's taco fairs, because I know that they went and they were out there. I know they had an amazing time. So big shout out to Luxury Travel by Melissa and Gary and Bucket List Travel LLC for supplying these photos. And that's why I'm mentioning them, because they sent these in. So, hey, I talked about it last week. We talked about the taco fair and all about it. So this was the 9th annual version of the taco fair. For those keeping track, there's Gary right there enjoying it. He's one of the biggest taco fans I know, so that's awesome. So thank you for these photos. It just wrapped up yesterday, Sunday, March 29th. It was a massive hit at Parque Pelota. If you also are out there, let me know. I'd love to hear about it. But there was well over 20 vendors and 40 different styles of tacos on deck. The event, of course, drew a huge crowd of locals and visitors just looking to kick off the Semana Santa holidays with some serious flavor. From the classic al pastor and carnitas to high-end gourmet bites like lobster and Monterey tacos. Really? My gosh, that's amazing. From tacos and love, I think that's an okay thing. I don't know, I'm a scuba diver. It's kind of tricky. There was definitely something for every palate. Beyond the food, the vibe was quintessential Vallarta with live music, craft beer tastings, and plenty of agua frescas to keep everyone cool in the afternoon sun, of course, and plenty of craft beers, of course, as well. Beyond the food, it was obviously out there in the sun. It was warm, but I love that everybody got out there. They got to chow down on meat, but also there was a big push this year for creative vegetarian options and seafood specialties that really showed off our local culinary talent. I kind of saw a bit of that at the chili cook-off this year, that there were finally some vegan and vegetarian options. So we're really expanding here in Vallarta. Overall, it was a pretty community gathering. You can see by Gary's face, loving that. I love that face. I love that taco. And obviously, it was just an amazing community gathering that proves once again why our local scene and our food scene and our festival scene makes it so easy for me to do this show, because there's always something going on. So again, huge shout out again to Melissa and Gary for sending these over. And again, check out their website, bucketlisttravel.llc.com, to find out more about what they do. But mostly, thank you so much for those photos. I love it. Thank you for your submission. If you go to any events and you've got photos and you've got stuff about it, hey, Chris Anderson, the Anderson Report, does a great job with it. But that just shows sometimes I just see that my friends went and done something. And I'm like, hey, would you mind me sharing those photos and giving your business a shout out? Why not? You did for me, I did for you. And he was in taco heaven, I can tell 100%. And once I mean, hey, I mean, there he is. He was in taco heaven. That is taco heaven. We're having some fun today. So one more coffee can before we go. But speaking of coffee, so Jonathan, you did ask a valid question. I talk about this in person with people a lot because that's the way I prefer to do it. But since you asked about Paco Ojeda and Coffee and Headlines and his passing in this show, so I'll tell you right now, this show was never meant to be a replacement for Coffee and Headlines. It really wasn't my goal, and I was doing the utmost respect. And I really tried to like not do that. So I had built out this studio before before what happened on 222, and I was kind of thinking of what that next thing should be for me, what podcast is going to be, video podcast. And then 222 happened, and I went on live and started doing news, and it was just news. And then as the days passed, people kept coming up to me, like at Chili Cook-Off and Changing Lives. I was emceeing those events and asking me, would you be willing to go on 5 days a week for what's generally about 15 minutes? This is going to be one of our longest shows because I did want to do this question justice. And would you be willing to do that? And I said, listen, Paco and I are very, very different styles, very different people. Utmost respect to him, but those are giant shoes to fill. And really wasn't my goal to do that. But they kept saying there's been like a hole in the community since then. So I know I'm not what Paco was. I know I'm a different flavor, so to speak. But if this is what the community wanted, and so many people came up and asked me about, can you be the next Coffee and Headline in my own version? That's what really pushed me to do that. So thank you for asking about that, Jonathan. And again, it's always with great respect. And a huge shout out to Paco for what he did for this community. And he's always remembered. Even when I don't mention him on this show, it's always in my thoughts. And honestly, I've been considering making this the Paco Ojeda Memorial Coffee Cam. But for today, I'm just going to leave it as Coffee Cam to be respectful. So thanks for asking. Thanks for hanging in there for an extra 5 minutes today. I know this show was a little bit long as I try to get you out, but don't tune out immediately. Please hang in there for my very quick outro where I list my amazing sponsors. Again, without these sponsors, this show won't be progressing and continue the way we want it to. So thank you for watching. Check out the sponsors, and thank you as always for tuning into Puerto Vallarta Real News, PVRN. Please hit the share button with your friends. We always need more viewers, and have an amazing rest of your Monday. And I'll see you tomorrow at 10 a.m. as always.